Is this book your story?
It's not my life story. It's fiction, but it's loosely based on my life. Like when you read the first few chapters, it sounds like Pia because Cleo, like Pia, lives with her mom and her sister, and she has a dad who is a famous director, and she's navigating her way in the industry. She's trying modeling, she's trying acting, it's not working, and then she gets into pageants, so it sounds very familiar. But then as you read through the chapters, you realize that, okay, so this is Cleo, it's not really Pia. And what I love about that is that it gives me room to play around with the storyline and to make it as dramatic as I want it to be, and I can, give her a love interest. Maybe wala, maybe mag-aaway sila, maybe hindi, baka magkatuluyan sila, baka hindi. Maybe she wins the crown, maybe she doesn't win the crown. So I can play around with how the story will go. One day, maybe I'll write about myself, but I feel like I don't feel like I don't know how will I end that book, right? Like I feel like I'm still working on so many things that paano ko ba siya i-end? So maybe, in a few years later down the line, that's something I would consider. But for now, let's play around with novels first. So that's why it's a novel and not an autobiography.
Interesting. Actually, it's nice because at least you're a public figure already. We know about you a lot. So it's nice to somehow have that kind of intriguing feeling that sino ba si Pia? Paano ba siya kakaiba kay Pia? But you mentioned about some of the similarities already of you and of course Cleo. But could you tell us more about the similarities and differences of Cleo and Pia?
So Cleo is very stubborn and she doesn't give up. She knows that she wants to make it, to prove herself in the industry, to her dad, that she has what it takes. And she really has a goal. So I think that's where we're aligned. I think ang differences namin is she makes a few mistakes along the way, and in her path to her pursuit to success, she will have to make some decisions in her love life. Yeah. Hindi ako relate doon kasi masaya naman ang love life.
Oh yeah, we can see that. I'm on a big hand for Mrs. Johnsy. Kita-kita namin ang saya eh.
But jokes aside, that's what I love about this fiction novel, because then I don't have to peg it to my life. Pwedeng yun yung pattern, pero pwede ko siyang paglaruan pa sa storyline. So, I mentioned this in previous interviews, but I'll say it again for those who don't know. This was ready in 2019, but then we decided to put it on hold because we wanted to be able to do a proper book tour and promotion for it, and to be able to do things like this where we're face to face and I'm able to talk to you about it. And that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because while we were waiting, we were able to really fine-tune everything, make sure that everything is how we want it to be, and also Total Publishing came into the picture at the time we were waiting and for the pandemic to be over, and then it also gave us few pairs of eyes na foreign, to give us a different perspective and to give us some good advice on how to really make this more international, and parang for it to become attractive also to the international market and an audience that's not particularly Filipino. Kasi gusto namin, syempre, the world, di ba?
The universe,
The
right?
universe.
Yeah. Hindi mo basta talaga yung personality, even the thought process, di ba? In creating this book, and even for launching it, the timeline and everything. But mo basta talaga yung how hands-on you are, and just making sure that you really put things together and you really get to that goal and make it happen. But let's talk about the writing process. As a writer tayo. As a novelist. Yeah, so you mentioned that it was supposed to be out in 2019. So what inspires you to write this novel?
So I had a few, Miss Universe pa lang ako, alam ko na that I wanted to do something like this. I actually have a list of things that I want to do after the crown. And this was one of this. And under book, may tatlo kang idea. So under one idea, there's a few ideas. And then I had a meeting with ABS-CBN Books and I was like, these are the things that I want to do. I'll still do the others, so I'm claiming it na. Mauuna ko dyan. I wanted to do a lookbook, I wanted to do a self-help book on how to build confidence, and then I wanted to do a novel. And then I presented the idea and I wanted to follow their guide. Kasi syempre, mas alam nila kung ano yung gusto ng mga tao, kung ano yung kakagat. And they're like, this is what will work. And of course, I trust them, so I was like, sure, let's do that first. And mabilis naman, parang in the same year, we were able to complete the manuscript. But okay na rin na naghintay because if I compare the first draft to now, it's the same storyline, but this is definitely much better. Yes, it has evolved. It has gone through different evolutions, and when you read through a few chapters, you'll really imagine yourself in the setting of Metro Manila and ano yung pakiramdam in a Filipino family setting and ano yung kultura natin, ano yung mga kinakain natin pagkain. It really sets the tone of being in the Philippines. So it all worked out in the end. So this was it's crazy how you write an idea down on a piece of paper and then when you work on it and don't give up on the idea, years later, naging totoo na siya. So, yeah, that's, I still catch myself being awed by that idea na sinasabi, iniisip ko lang to doon habang nagsha-shower ako, tapos ngayon nag-book event na tayo. So, and number one pa. So, aside from National Bookstore, it's also number one on Lazada at the moment. So, yeah. And also, it is out of stock sa fully booked. Yeah.
Fully booked na talaga siya. Fully booked.
Yeah, it's fully booked na. So, we're in the process of reprinting a few more copies now.
Wow, not a problem at all.
Not a problem. Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Definitely. So speaking of problems, maybe not problems but challenges. What have been the most challenging parts of your writing journey so far?
Okay, I'm very good at conceptualizing ideas and talking about it, but so the story, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It's writing it, that's the hard part. So it's a long and painful process. You are fighting against your self-doubt, laziness, procrastination, all of writer's block, all of those things. But I was able to push through. We were able to finish it, and I have an amazing team guiding me along the way. So yun yung pinakamahirap. And also the pandemic was actually, it was also difficult because there was a time where I thought na baka hindi na matuloy. Baka kasi laging napupush back, baka hindi meant to be. And there were also a few months where I thought that baka ma-shelf tong project na to because people weren't, seeing each other face to face. Businesses were down, and I know that some projects were put on hold, so I was hoping na kung sana hindi kasama yung summer doon. But yeah, everything turned out great in the end. So.
It did. And of course, let's talk about that. What are the most rewarding parts of this journey for you naman?
The most rewarding is when I'm still reading it, like I still go back and say, I have my personal copy where I have all my notes, and I still go back and I read it again, and then I think, sana ma-enjoy na magbabasa to, ganyan. But it's very colorful yung story, so I love it when I get tagged in photos, posts, stories, reels. People are quoting words from the book. It means they're reading it, so that's na kinikilig ako doon, hindi lang nila binibili, binabasa talaga nila. At saka, just this whole, I mean, just the fact that it's out there and it's now in bookstores and I see it next to other books and I see people getting their copies. I wasn't sure if this was if this was something that my fans would like. Kasi, syempre, they're used to hearing me speak, they're used to seeing me. That's a very different form of media. Iba yung binabasa, hindi naman nila ako nakikita or naririnig pag gano'n. Siguro they can read my voice as they're reading it. But this is very new to me. I've done short stories and short articles, short form writing lang in the past, but not in this length. And also, I was worried that because of the rise of the digital world now, the pandemic, everybody's on social media, I was thinking, nako, yung mga tao ba, are they still buying books? Is this what my audience still wants to do? Are they picking up copies? Everything is online nowadays, but there really is an audience for books. I saw that. We did the Manila International Book Fair.
Right.
Kilig na kilig ako na kasama ako doon. Kasi I was like, I am amongst writers and national artists. So, that was a kilig moment for sure. But that really opened my eyes to how many people are really still very old school and appreciate reading. Especially dito sa Philippines. And there's really a huge pool of Filipino writers out there, and to be considered among one of them is a great honor talaga.
Pero actually,